future scientists out there. DepEd TV welcomes you to a day full of learnings and discoveries. I am Ma'am Con, your grade 7 science teacher. Come and join me. We are Sci Connected. How are you today? Are you ready for another day of learning? Before we start, make sure you have your pen, paper, and self-learning module. In the previous module, you have learned about the different mixtures and their characteristics. Mixtures can be homogeneous or heterogeneous. So, let us test your understanding. Let's have an activity entitled, "Where do I belong?" Prepare your pen and paper. Look at the samples to be flashed on the screen and guess if they are homogeneous or heterogeneous. Write your answers on a sheet of paper. I will give you enough time to answer. Number 1, gelatin. Number 2, cup of milk. Number 3, cup of coffee. Number 4, vegetable salad. Your time is up! Let us check your answers. Number 1, gelatin. Gelatin is homogeneous. Number 2, cup of milk. Cup of milk is homogeneous. Number 3, cup of coffee. Cup of coffee is homogeneous. And number 4, vegetable salad. Vegetable salad is heterogeneous. I hope you did a great job. If you did, I congratulate you. A homogeneous mixture has a uniform composition. Heterogeneous mixtures are not uniform in composition. In Module 3, we also found out that a solution is formed when a solute dissolves in a solvent to form a single phase that appears uniform throughout. A solution is a homogeneous mixture with tiny particles. The particles are too small to settle or to be filtered out of the mixture. When the sugar is thoroughly mixed into water, it forms a solution. Sugar will no longer be visible in the water. When mixed, sugar will not settle at the bottom of the cup. Let us further discuss solutions. But before that, try to answer the following questions. Prepare your pen and paper. Read each question carefully to be flashed on the screen. Write only the letter of the correct answer for each question. Write your answers on a sheet of paper. Are you ready? Let's begin! Number 1. In a saltwater solution, what substance is considered the solvent? A. Salt. B. Water. C. Both are solvents. D. Neither substance is a solvent. In saltwater solution, the substance considered as solvent is water. If your answer is letter B, you are correct. Number 2. What is the substance that is being dissolved in a solution? A. Solute. B. Colloid. C. Solvent. D. Suspension. The substance that is being dissolved in a solution is called solute. If your answer is letter A, good job! You are correct! Number 3. Which of the following refers to the solution that contains maximum amount of solute dissolved in the given amount of solvent? A. Dilute. B. Solubility. C. Saturated solution. D. Unsaturated solution. The solution that contains maximum amount of solute dissolved in the given amount of solvent is saturated solution. If your answer is letter C, you got it right! Number 4. How will you say that a solution is saturated? A. Crystals are formed. B. You need to stir it more. C. More solute will dissolve in it. D. No additional solute will dissolve in it. A solution is saturated when the additional solute is not dissolved in it. If your answer is letter D, congratulations! You are correct! Number 5. What is the substance that dissolves the other component in a solution? A. Solute. B. Colloid. C. Solvent. D. Suspension. The substance that dissolves other component in a solution is called a solvent. If your answer is letter C, great job! You got it right! How's the pre-assessment? Did you find it hard? You have nothing to worry about because we are going to elaborate this throughout this episode. I hope that everything's clear about pure substance and mixtures. Anyway, here are your learning goals for today's lesson. Number 1. Describe saturated and unsaturated solution. Number 2. Determine how much solid solute dissolves in each volume of water. And number 3. Describe the appearance of a saturated solution. Do you have the materials that I told you to prepare on our previous episode? I understand that some of the materials needed are not available at your home. There's nothing to worry about. I'll demonstrate it to you. Just watch, observe, and take down notes because you might use them after the experiment. What are the materials needed? 6 teaspoons of sugar, water, 1 measuring spoon with 1/2 capacity, 2 beakers or you can use plastic cups in your home, stirrer or spoon. Are you ready? Prepare your pen, paper, and yourself because it's experiment time with Ma'am Con. Number 1. Put 20 ml or approximately 2 tablespoons of water into small clear cup or a beaker. Add 1/2 teaspoon of sugar and stir it. Label it as solution A and B. Question number 1. What is the appearance of the solutions? Write your observations. Number 2. To the sugar solution in step 1, add another 1/2 teaspoon of sugar to solution A. A small portion at a time and stir the solution to dissolve the sugar. At this point, we have added 2 teaspoons of sugar. Number 3. Add another 1/2 teaspoon of sugar in solution A and stir to dissolve the sugar. Number 4. Continue adding 1/2 teaspoon of sugar to to solution A until the added sugar no longer dissolves. Question number 2. How many teaspoons of sugar have you added until the sugar no longer dissolves? Question number 3. How many teaspoons of sugar dissolved completely in 20 ml of water? This is now the maximum amount of sugar that will completely dissolve in 20 ml of water. It is my pleasure to know that you have enjoyed the experiment. Let's answer the questions. Are you ready? Let's do it! Question 1. What is the appearance of the solutions in step 1? The solutions appear uniform throughout. This is homogeneous. Question 2. How many teaspoons of sugar have you added until the sugar no longer dissolves? 5.5 teaspoons of sugar were added when there was excess undissolved sugar observed remaining in the container. Question 3. How many teaspoons of sugar dissolved completely in 20 ml of water? 5 teaspoons of sugar is the maximum amount that can dissolve in 20 ml of water. Did you get the right answer? If you did, I congratulate you! You are amazing! Now, it's Science Fact Time with Ma'am Con. Did you know that some animals don't have brains? Examples of these are starfish, jellyfish, sea cucumber, and other radially symmetric animals. Contrary to what others believe, despite the lack of this important organ, these animals still function normally. How can they survive without the brain? Well, these species adapted in specific ways that allows them to feed, reproduce, exist, and excrete normally. Amazing, right? That's today's short science fact with Ma'am Con. Let's go back to our lesson. We have made solutions in our experiment. Solutions have two components called solvent and solute. Solvent is the component of solution which dissolves the other component of the solution. It institutes the larger component of the solution. In our experiment, the solvent is water that dissolves the sugar. Solute is the component of the solution which is dissolved by the solvent. It has the lesser component of the solution. In our experiment, sugar is the solute that dissolves in water. In the experiment, you observed that the appearance of solution containing less amount of solute or sugar was clear and transparent. When sugar is dissolved in water, the particles of sugar gets between the spaces of the particles of water and creates a single-phase solution. However, when you slowly add more amount of sugar into the solution and stir it, you will observe that the solution reaches already the point at which it cannot dissolve more solute and the sugar you add sinks to the bottom in solid form. From the activity, you have observed that there is a maximum amount of solute like sugar that can dissolve in a given amount of solvent like water. The process that took place between sugar and water is called solubility of the solute. The solution that contains the maximum amount of solute dissolved by a given amount of solvent is called saturated solution. The presence of an excess which can no longer dissolve is evidence that the solution is saturated. Solution is unsaturated when it contains less solute than the maximum amount it can dissolve at a given temperature. In the experiment, Solution B has the less amount of solute than the maximum amount it can dissolve. Now, let's test your mastery of the lesson. Prepare your pen and paper. Read the questions to be flashed on the screen. Write the letter of your answer. I will give you enough time to answer each question. Are you ready for the assessment? Let's start! Number 1. You are given a 40 milliliter solution in a beaker. You add solute to the beaker and you observed that some particles did not dissolve. What type of solution is it? A. Saturated. B. Unsaturated. C. Concentrated. D. Supersaturated. The solution is saturated because there are some particles which are undissolved. If your answer is letter A, excellent! You are correct! Number 2. How will you prepare an unsaturated solution? A. Freeze the solution. B. Stir the solute in the liquid. C. Add the less amount of solute to the liquid. D. Add more amount of solute in a lower amount of solvent. You can prepare an unsaturated solution when you add less amount of solute to the liquid. If your answer is letter C, then you got it right! Number 3. Which one will make a solute dissolve quickly in a solvent? A. Stir it. B. Do not stir the solution. C. Let the solute settle down. D. Nothing to do with the solute. Among the choices, the best way to make a solute dissolve quickly in a solvent is to stir it. If your answer is letter A, congratulations because you got the right answer. Number 4. What can you do if your hot chocolate tasted very sweet? A. Add water. B. Add sugar. C. Mix the solution well. D. Let it settle for an hour. The best way to do if your drink is too sweet is to add water. If your answer is letter A, good job! You are right! Number 5. When can you say that the solution is saturated? A. Crystals are formed. B. You need to stir it more. C. No additional solute will dissolve in it. D. Two materials have combined to create a clear liquid. A solution is saturated when no additional solute will dissolve in it. If your answer is letter C, great! You got the right answer. We are now done discussing today's lesson, and I congratulate you for that. You are now ready to explore the next lesson. Now, it's time to be connected on one of our question senders inside Connected on DepEd TV page. Our question sender is Riza, 19 years old from Bulacan State University, San Jose del Monte City. Her question is, what makes up an organism? Well, what is an organism? Organism refers to any living matter classified as plant, animal, fungus, protistan, or moneran. Organisms grow, adapt, respond to stimuli, and reproduce. What makes up an organism? An organism has lots of parts. These parts combine together from cells, tissues, organs, organ systems, and finally, the organism itself. If you have science questions, simply post it on Sci Connected on DepEd TV page. Kindly follow this format. Hope that you have learned new lessons today. Thank you so much for sticking with me and see you on the next episode. Learning does not stop here. If you want to watch my previous episodes or a replay of this episode, simply go to DepEd TV official YouTube channel, then be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time we release a new video. Again, this is Maricon and Samin scientifically saying, think critically, do things differently, and that develop your ability.